I have been teaching English for more than 20 years now. And today I want to talk about present perfect simple. Exactly. So, do you want to master present perfect simple? Do you know when to use it, how to use it, what not to do, typical mistakes and common expressions? Yes? So let's get this party started. Hello, my dear students, and welcome to Master Business English. I'm Coach Karime, and today's lesson we're going to learn about present perfect simple. And what we will learn? Well, we will learn why you need to learn present perfect simple. Also, why the present perfect simple is so important. We're going to learn its form, the structure, when to use the present perfect simple with examples in order to understand it and to internalize it much better, when not to use the present perfect simple, common expressions that will help us to identify and to tell us how to use the present perfect, typical mistakes to avoid, common mistakes, and also practice. So let's start it. Well, what do we need to learn the present perfect simple? The first issue is because the present perfect simple is the most, or it's one of the most important tenses in English grammar. Secondly, because it allows you to communicate in a much more advanced way. Then it also leads you to success in a job interview, at work, in your career, professional career, or also on your English certification like TOEFL, IELTS, or TOEFL, among others. Why is the present perfect simple so important? It is super important because it connects or links the present tense with the past. It links the present with the past. It is also important because it is used when talking about experiences from the past, or a change or a situation that has happened in the past, but it is still continuing today. And also because it demonstrates that actions or events in the past have an effect on the present situation. For all those reasons, the present perfect is very important to be learned. Let's have a little introduction in order to understand it better. When we studied the past simple, we studied that it is an action that started and finished in the past at a specific moment in the past. Okay, that is the past simple. So let's go to see how it works here with I lost my passport. I lost my passport. It means I lost it on Monday, but then I found it on Wednesday. It is true that I lost it on Monday, but then I found it. So it's not true, or it is not lost anymore because I found it on Wednesday. Okay, so it was true in the past, but not now. It means that now I have my passport. So the situation has changed. Okay, when the action started and finished at a specific moment in the time, I must use past simple. Here, I lost my passport on Monday. I found it on Wednesday. So it's not longer true that my passport is lost because I have it. Okay. What about present perfect simple? I have lost my passport. I have lost my passport. It means that I lost it in the past. Okay. And up to now, I don't have it. It is still lost. Okay. And here, what matters, what really matters, is the result. The fact that I don't have my passport. Okay? So I have lost my passport means that still now I don't have it. Okay? What matters is the result. And in past simple, I lost it, but then I found it. It's no longer true that I don't have it. Okay? It's a finished, completely finished past action. So let's learn its form, because its form is super important. It is important to know how to use it. We have to remember that to have is the auxiliary of the present perfect simple form. And the verb goes in past participle. So we have the subject, the auxiliary to have, and we have to conjugate it accordingly, according to the subject, the verb in past participle, and of course, we have the complement. Examples. We have traveled twice to New York. Okay, we have traveled. Margaret has managed her meeting very well. Margaret, she has managed. Eric has just cleaned the house. Eric has cleaned the house. I've lost my passport. I have lost my passport. So here we have conjugated the auxiliaries, and the verbs in all these cases, they go in past participle. Don't forget this. In order to master the present perfect, if you want to know how to use it, you must know how to apply it, or how to use them in a positive, negative sentence, and also into questions. Otherwise, there's no present perfect. So we have the auxiliary, the subject, the auxiliary, the verb, and the complement. And we say, we have traveled twice to New York. We have traveled, the auxiliary and the verb in past participle. WH, question, auxiliary, subject, verb, complement, and the question mark for questions. Have we traveled twice to New York? Have we traveled? And the negative, subject, auxiliary, not, verb, and complement. And here we have not traveled twice to New York. The auxiliary, the negative, and the verb in past participle in a negative sentence. Okay. Therefore, don't forget to always apply and to use the structures. Okay. Never by never forget this. So the question is, but when do we use the present perfect simple? Okay, let's learn. We're going to learn the use of the present perfect simple with several examples and little by little. Okay, so the first is that the present perfect simple, it talks about a past action or event or situation with no time reference. It means that with the present perfect simple, the time is not important. We are not interested in when the action happened. In other words, we do not know when the action happened and we can't mention it. Examples. Garrett has arrived. Okay, and we do not know when the action happened. I have worked very hard for this test. Good. There's no mention of the time. Has Paul answered your email? There's no mention of the time either. She has cooked lunch. Okay, here, there's no time reference. So we do not need to mention when the action happened because there's no time reference when we use the present perfect simple. Okay? Here we have, again, the present perfect is an action that happened in the past, and we do not know when the action happened. More. It is also a repetition of an activity before now for actions that happened often. Let's go to see some examples. I have studied English for so long. So therefore, it is an action that happened often. Bob has not trained so hard for winning. Yes, it's a repetition of an activity because he hasn't trained. They have seen that movie 13 times. It's a repetition of an activity 13 times. Have you met a lot of people during your trips? Several trips. You know, it's an action that happened often, a repetition of an activity. So in those cases, in these specific examples, we use the present perfect. As I mentioned before, it is a repetition of an activity before now. We also use the present perfect simple for a finished action in the past, a finished action in the past with a result now. It is also used for recently past actions. I mean, a short time ago, okay, that have a relation with or in the present time. So it's not only a result, it could be also an effect or a consequence, but in the present time. Examples. I have already seen that movie. I have already seen that movie. It means I saw it. So it means maybe I don't want to see it again because I have already seen it. She has just eaten dinner. Therefore, I'm full. I don't think so I will eat dinner again. Okay, because in this case, she has just eaten dinner. I've lost my driving license. I can find it now. I have lost my driving license. Therefore, the consequence, the problem is that I can't drive my car. I can. He has finished his homework. He doesn't need to work on it anymore because he has finished his homework. In these cases, okay, in all these cases, okay, it is those are actions that happened in the past, could be also recently actions, but with a result in the present. So this person, the first, I have already seen the movie. I don't want to see it because I have already seen it. Why? Should I watch it again? She has just eaten dinner. She is full. She doesn't want to have dinner again. I have lost my driving license and still now is still lost. He has finished his homework. He has just finished, maybe recently action, and he doesn't need to work on it anymore. So it is a recently past action with a result, a consequence, or an effect in the present. The present perfect simple with for and since, it is used to talk about something that started in the past, action, and continues in the present. So it started in the past and it continues in the present. Examples, I have worked for the bank for 5 years and still now I work in that bank. They have lived here since January 2018 and they still live there. Peter has taught in primary school for a few years and he's still teaching in that school. How long have you been married? We are asking about all the time, all the period that this person, that you are married with that person. Mary has been in Ireland for 3 months, and we want to express that Mary is still there in Ireland. So all these actions started in the past, but now, still now, they are going on, okay? They are still happening. So again, the present perfect is also used when we need to talk about a past action, okay, that happened and started in the past and still continuing into the present. It is still happening in the present, okay? Fabulous. This is a little summary. Okay, let's go to learn common expressions. finished, completely finished actions. I have just tidied up the house. Here, the key word is just. It means short time ago. Okay, I have just tidied up the house. I have recently finished. She has already watched that film. The key word here is already. Already. So when we use just already with present perfect, we want to express that the action is finished, recently finished. What about not finished actions? Example, they have lived here for 10 years. Keep it this, please, because I will explain it to you in a couple of seconds. He has worked here since September. Both sentences explain or want to communicate, they want to communicate that the action started in the past and now it is still going on. These actions are still happening now. Okay, so they still live there, okay, and he worked in that company or in that place, okay? But here we have some common expressions, for and since. When we use for and since with present perfect, okay, we mean that the action started in the past and now it is still happening now, okay? It continues, okay? It continues to the present. But what's the difference between for and since? For means the duration of the whole activity or action, the whole duration, while since tell us about the specific moment that the action started. So for talks about the duration, the whole duration, and since the specific moment that the action started. But in both cases with present perfect means that the action now is still in progress. The movie has not started yet, so we need to continue waiting for, okay? So the movie has not started yet. Yet here is the common expression that we use with present perfect. How long have you been married? Here I am asking you the whole duration of the action, okay? The whole duration, and the key word here is how long. Have you ever been to Japan? Still now here with this question, with ever, the key word, I ask you about the whole time, your whole life. Ever. She has never met Joshua. In all her life, she has never met Joshua. So she doesn't know him. So the common expressions with present perfect, in order to know when to use it, but also to use them with present perfect, are just, already, for, since, yet, how long, ever, and never. So if you want to use very well present perfect, don't forget to use also these common expressions. So when not to use the present perfect simple? Okay, the first issue we're going to check here is that we're talking about finished time expressions and the past simple. So when we have a completely finished time expression, okay, we can't use the present perfect simple. We must use the past simple. For example, she traveled to New York last year. Last year is a completely finished action, and last year is also a finished time expression. For that reason, with this sentence, we can't use the present perfect. No. The next one, when did you send the woods? We can't use when with present perfect because when asks the specific moment that the action happened. And remember, do you remember in present perfect, we have just learned that we can't mention the time that the action happened, okay? Because it is not important and we can't mention it in present perfect. For that reason, we cannot use when with present perfect. In this case, it is okay to use the past simple, okay? The past simple. Next question, what time did he have the meeting? Here is exactly the same. What time asks about the specific moment that the action started. For that reason, we cannot use what time with present perfect simple. Okay, we can't. In this case, it's okay to use the past simple. Okay, because remember, when and what time tell us a specific moment that the action started or happened, and we can't use it. We can't mention it when we are talking or we are using the present perfect simple. Okay, the same situation with the finished time expression last year. We can't with present perfect simple. What about unfinished time? No time expressions. Here we can use the present perfect. Let's see. We have played squash twice this week, and we are in the middle of the week. The week is not finished. Okay, for that reason, we can use the present perfect simple. How long have you known Margaret? I'm asking about the whole duration of the time. I'm not asking about when specifically, when the action specifically happened. Okay, for that reason, I can use, okay, the present perfect with this question with how long, because I'm not asking when, but the whole duration of the action, the activity, or the situation, or the event. Has she ever bought a computer on Amazon? Has she ever? I'm talking about that in her whole life, if she has ever bought a computer on Amazon. Okay. In these cases, we are not mentioned finished time is completely unfinished because we are still alive in both cases, Margaret. Okay. And in the last question, the week is not finished. Then we are not mentioned. We don't mention any time expression, as you can see in these three sentences. For that reason, we can use the present perfect. Okay. Let's go to learn now about the typical mistakes to avoid, the common mistakes, okay, to eliminate. Okay, so we will learn about them. The first one, make a little effort and tell me what is the mistake in the first one. She been to New York. She been to New York. Let's go to see it. The mistake here is that in this sentence, the missing word is the auxiliary. She has. So the correct sentence should be, she has been to New York. In present perfect, as I mentioned, we can't forget the auxiliary, and we must conjugate the auxiliary according to the subject. Okay? So she has been to New York. In the other, what's the mistake? He have gone to bed. Let's see. It is still wrong. Why? Because as I mentioned before, we have to conjugate the auxiliary. So he has gone to bed. He has gone to bed. Okay, this is auxiliary and it must be conjugated. So he has. The next one, we have just eat dinner. What's a mistake here? Let's see. Eaten. Remember, I told you that the verb needs to be conjugated in past participle, the verb. So we have just eaten dinner, okay? Eaten. We are talking about the verb in past participle, past participle. I haven't my homework. What's the mistake? Yes. Here, we can't forget the verb. We need to mention the verb. We can't forget the verb. It is important in our sentence, in all our sentences. So I haven't done, because the verb here, it goes in past participle. I haven't done my homework. So in all these previous mistakes, we have to take into account, we must take into account the use of the auxiliary or the verb correctly. Okay, let's go to see the other mistake. Have you called your boss? Yes, I've. It's wrong. Why? Because have you called your boss? The answer should be yes, I have. We can't say yes, I've. In a short answer, we can't use the contraction in positive and that's all. No, that's wrong. We must say yes, I have. Let's go the other mistake. When has she started her new job? So here, it's also wrong. Remember, when we use when, we must use the past simple because it asks when the action started. And remember, in present perfect, we can't know when the action happened. Okay, we can't mention it. So here we can say, when did she start her new job? When did she start her new job? Or the other possibility is to eliminate when. For example, in this case, we can eliminate when, okay? And we can say, has she started her new job? Has she started her new job? And this question will be perfectly okay. In the other sentence, okay? So in the other sentence, did you ever travel to Las Vegas? Did you ever travel to Las Vegas? What's wrong in this sentence? Let's go to see it. Here, remember the common expression ever. And when we use ever in a question, we're asking about all the period of time, her whole life. For that reason here, we must ask, have you ever traveled to Las Vegas? Have you ever traveled to Las Vegas? So it's not possible to say, did you ever travel to Las Vegas? Because this is a past action and finished in the past. Let's go to see the next mistake. Have you ever do something for money? Have you ever do something for money? What's the mistake here? Exactly. Don't forget the verb in past participle. Have you ever done something for money? This is the correct question. More. She has met them last week. It's wrong. Remember, we cannot use a finished time expression with present perfect. We can only use it with past simple. So here we can say, she has met them in present perfect without mentioning last week. Okay, we cannot mention it. Okay, and that's okay. She has met them. Or we can also say, she met them last week. She met them last week. And here the sentence is past simple. Other one, they've known each other for a long time ago. What's the mistake here? Exactly. Fabulous. Fantastic. The mistake here is ago. Ago, no, because this is an expression that belongs to the past simple, a completely finished time expression. It's a key word, completely finished in the past. So the correct will be, they've known each other for a long time. And that's all. That's correct. No ago. Okay? But also here, some people, when they are speaking, because of course, the objective is to communicate, to learn how to speak, okay? Some people do not pronounce the words correctly. So they said, they know each other for a long time. They know each other for a long time. And that's wrong. They must say they've known. They've known each other for a long time. And that's correct. So please be careful when you need to speak. You need to pronounce, okay, them. The other one, he has lost his passport since last week. What's the mistake here? Exactly. We cannot say, because we mention it several times, okay, we mention this several times, that we should say he has lost his passport since Monday, the specific moment where the action started. So in order to use present perfect, so it means that to now, from Monday to now, is still lost. Okay, but okay, remember that we cannot use a finished time expression. So the problem here is last week, because we cannot use a finished time expression with present perfect. The other issue is that when you are speaking, sometimes you say, he have lost his passport. And remember, that is also wrong. You must say he has lost, because you need to conjugate the issues very well, okay? Let's go to see the other mistake. The dog's just beaten Paul's leg, okay? But listen here, listen and pay attention. The dog just beat Paul's leg. Again, the dog just beat Paul's leg. What's the mistake here? Okay. Exactly. I didn't pronounce it. Yes, exactly. I said the dog just beat Paul's leg, and I should have said the dogs just beaten Paul's leg. The dogs just beaten Paul's leg. Okay, so also when you're speaking, don't forget to pronounce the present perfect correctly. Okay, so all those are the typical mistakes that you should take into account and avoid them, please. Okay, avoid them. Very good. A little practice. Where's Bernie? He has gone to bed. What do we want to communicate with that? That Bernie is not here with us. He recently, he's gone to bed. He's gone to bed. It's a recently action, okay? Oh, it's Oliver's birthday tomorrow, and I haven't bought him a present. So up to now, there's no present for him. I want to communicate that I forgot. I haven't bought him a present. So now, still now, I don't have a present. The next one, have you finished with your exercises? So I'm asking you if you have finished, okay? I can't find my umbrella. Have you seen it? I lost it and I'm looking for it. I haven't seen it. Where have you bought your new computer? Now you have a computer. I want to know where have you bought it? Has George arrived? I haven't seen him. So where is George? I don't know. I haven't seen him. So all these sentences are used in present perfect simple, okay? And they want to communicate some of the information we have studied. So here is when you want to speak and use the present perfect, first of all, you need to know what you want to communicate. And according to your thoughts, you need to decide the tense to use, okay? Conclusions. We use the present perfect simple to talk about past actions with no time reference, okay? No time reference. It is also used for a repetition of an activity before now. We also use for an action in the past with a result in the present. But also the present perfect simple with for and since, is used to talk about an action that started in the past and it still continues in the present. More, it is also used for recently past actions that have a relation with or in the present time. Very good. Now it's your turn. Write down in your comments some sentences in present perfect. And if you make a mistake, we will correct you. write down in the chat box under the video. You will see the comment part and you can write your sentences. Put this topic, put this lesson into practice, okay? So thank you very much for today's lesson. Please like, subscribe, and share it. Here down, you're going to see in the corner, okay, down, you're going to see a red square. Please click on it and subscribe to our channel, okay? And as soon as we are going to upload a new video, you're going to be notified. So you will continue learning much more with us, okay? Thank you very much. My very pleasure, Coach Kareem. See you. Bye.